Well, children, gather around and we will read tonight's chapter 11, The Meeting Punishes Elizabeth. The meeting the next day was at the same time as before. All the children went, and once again the two judges, Rita and William, sat at the big table, and the 12 monitors, the jury, sat at the smaller table. Other teachers were there too, this time, besides Miss Bell and Miss Best. They sometimes came to hear what was being done at the meeting, although they never interfered. Rita hammered on the table for quiet. Elizabeth sat looking sulky. She knew quite well that she would be scolded and punished, and she kept telling herself that she didn't care. But 1 week at Wentliff School had made her see that it really was a splendid school, and she couldn't help feeling rather ashamed of her behavior. Well, it can't be helped. They won't send me home unless I behave badly, she kept saying to herself. Has anyone any more money to put into the box? Asked William. He looked at a sheet of paper. Jill Kenton and Harry Wills have received money this week and have already put it in. Has anybody else any? Nobody had. Nora, give out the £2 to everyone, please, ordered William. Nora began to give out the money. She even gave it to Elizabeth, who was most surprised. She had quite thought that owing to her behavior she would get no money at all. She made up her mind to buy some peppermints and some toffee and share them with Joan. She whispered this to her friend who was sitting beside her. Thank you, whispered Joan back. I shall want most of my money to buy stamps this week, so I shall love to share your sweets. Does anyone want extra money? Asked William. George got up and spoke. We need a new cricket ball for a practice game, he said. We lost ours in the shrubbery. You must look for it again before you get the money, said William. Come to me tomorrow. George sat down. Queenie got up. Could I have some money to buy a birthday present for somebody? She asked. It's my old nurse's birthday this week, and I'd like to send her something. £1 will do nicely. £1 was given to Queenie. I'd like a new garden spade, said John Terry, standing up. I'm afraid it will cost rather a lot, though. Mr. Warlow, the games master, got up and spoke for John. I should just like to say that, in my opinion, John deserves a new spade, he said. He is the best gardener in the school, and I believe the peas we had for dinner today were due to his hard work. John's spade was passed at once. Give him the money, said William. How much is it, John? I'm afraid it's £5, said John. I've asked at 3 shops, and the price is the same in each. £5 was handed out. John sat down, blushing with pleasure. Other things were asked for. Some were granted and some refused. Then came the complaints and grumbles. Any reports or complaints? Asked Rita, knocking on the table for silence. I want to report Harry Dunn for cheating, said a monitor firmly. There was a buzz at once. Everyone knew Harry Dunn, a sly-faced boy in the class above Elizabeth. He sat on his form, looking red. Cheating is awful, said William, shocked. We haven't had a proper case of that here for 3 terms. Don't give him any money to spend for the rest of the term, called someone. No, that's a silly punishment for cheating, said William at once. It wouldn't stop him, it would only make him angry. There was a loud discussion about Harry. Rita banged on the table with her hammer. Quiet, she said. I want to ask Harry something. Harry, what lesson do you cheat in? Arithmetic, said Harry sulkily. Why? Asked William. Well, I missed 5 weeks last term and I got behind in my arithmetic, said Harry. My father doesn't like me to be bad at arithmetic, and I knew I'd be almost bottom if I didn't cheat. So I thought I'd better cheat and copy Humphrey's sums, that's all. Yes, he did miss 5 weeks last term, said a monitor. He had mumps, I remember. And his father does get wild if he isn't near the top in arithmetic, said another monitor. Well, it seems to me that we'd better ask Mr. Johns if he'd be good enough to give Harry extra help in arithmetic this term, so that he can catch up what he missed, said William. Then he won't need to cheat. Mr. Johns, I can see you at the back this evening. Do you think it would help Harry if you gave him extra time? Rather, said Mr. Johns. I've already suggested it to Harry, and now that this has happened, I think he'll be glad of extra help in arithmetic. Won't you, Harry? Yes, thank you, sir, said Harry. But William hadn't finished with Harry. We can't let you sit with the others in your class until we know you won't cheat again, he said. You had better put your desk apart from the others until you have caught up with the arithmetic you've missed. And then you can go back if you will come and tell me that you won't cheat again. All right, said William, said Harry. He hated the idea of being set apart because he was a cheat, and he had made up his mind he would soon know as much as anyone else, and then he'd beat them with his own brains and never cheat again. Cheating is only done by stupid or lazy people, said William. Now, any more complaints? Then it was Elizabeth's turn to go red and look sulky. Up got Nora at once. I have a serious complaint to make, she said. It is about Elizabeth Allen again. I am the monitor in her bedroom, and I can't make her go to bed at the right time. Not only that, she is awfully rude and horrid. I don't think she cares how she behaves at all. Anything else? Asked Rita, staring in disgust at Elizabeth. Yes, she has poured ink twice over her bedside rug and refused to clean it, said Nora. Well, we will send it to the cleaners and Elizabeth can pay for it, said Rita. It costs £2 to get those rugs clean. So I'm afraid you will have to give up your £2, Elizabeth. Elizabeth really didn't like to be rude to Rita, so she meekly took out her £2 and passed them back to Nora, who put them into the money box. About the going to bed late, said William. That's easily dealt with. In future, Elizabeth's bedtime will be altered, and she will go at 7:30 instead of 8. But I shall miss the concerts and the dancing, said Elizabeth in dismay. That's your own fault, said Rita sternly. If you are sensible, we will alter your bedtime next week, but only if you are sensible. And now about the rudeness and horridness, said Williams. I'm not sure we can blame Elizabeth for that. You know, you've usually found that rude children are caused by silly parents who spoil them and let them say and do what they like. I should think Elizabeth's parents are to blame for her present rude behavior. They haven't taught her good manners. Elizabeth leapt up at once, her face full of anger. Mommy and Daddy have taught me good manners, she said. They've beautiful manners themselves, and Mommy is never rude to anyone. Well, we shall only believe that when we see that you are following their example, said William. Whenever you are rude this week, we shall each say to ourselves, Poor Elizabeth, she can't help it. She wasn't brought up properly. I'll show you I've got good manners, shouted Elizabeth. I'll just show you, you horrid boy. Everyone began to laugh at the angry little girl. William banged on the table with his hammer. Silence! Elizabeth wants to show us that she has good manners. Go on, Elizabeth. Shout a little more and call us names. Then we will see exactly what your good manners are. Elizabeth sat down boiling, so they thought her mother and father didn't know how to bring children up with good manners, did they? Well, nobody would be more polite than she would be next week. They would have to say they were wrong. Kenneth, the monitor in Elizabeth's class, got up next. Please, William and Rita, he said, could you do something about Elizabeth's behavior in class? It is simply impossible. She spoils all our lessons, and we are getting very tired of it. I guess Miss Ranger is too. This is really dreadful, said Rita. I had no idea Elizabeth was so bad. I am very disappointed. Has nobody a good word to say for her? No one spoke. No one said a word. And then everyone got a surprise, for up got Joan Townsend, the mouse. She was blushing red, for she hated to speak in public. I should like to speak for Elizabeth, she said. She can be very kind. She isn't really as horrid as she pretends to be. Joan sat down with a bump, as red as fire. Elizabeth looked at her gratefully. It was good to have a friend. Well, it's something to hear that, said William, but it isn't enough. What are Elizabeth's favorite lessons? Music, painting, and riding, shouted Elizabeth's class. Well, Elizabeth, until you can behave in the lessons you don't seem to like, you must miss those you do like, said William, after consulting with Rita for a while. You will miss riding, music, and painting this week, and you will not go down to the village at all. We hope there will be better reports next week, so that we can give you back the things you love. We simply can't let you spoil lessons for the rest of your class. Elizabeth could not stand the meeting for one moment more. She stood up, pushed a chair aside, and rushed out. Let her go, she heard Rita say, in a sorry sort of voice. She's been awfully silly, but she's really not as bad as she makes out. Poor Elizabeth, no money to spend, an early bedtime, no concerts, no dancing, no riding, painting, or music. The little girl sat in her bed and wept. She knew it was all her own fault, but it didn't make things any better. Oh, when would she be able to leave this horrid school? And now you guys can go to bed. Good night.